Before the bell tolls, before the first word is spoken, before bread is broken or feet touch stone, there is only this: stillness. The monastery rests in it, breathes in it, a silence so thick it seems older than the walls. And tonight, for the next 20 minutes or so, you will step quietly into that stillness. Not as a monk, not yet, but as someone curious about what silence really feels like when it stretches for a full day. As you settle in, let us know in the comments. Where are you listening from? And more importantly, what time is it where you are right now? We read every answer. We build this calm space together. And if this kind of slow story brings a kind of comfort to your night, please consider subscribing, liking, or just sending this video to someone who needs quiet tonight. Now breathe in, slowly. Let the noise of the outside world fall away. The bell hasn't rung yet, but soon it will. And when it does, your day of silence begins. You do not wake to the warmth of sun on your face, nor to the smell of bread, nor the sounds of birdsong brushing the eaves of some soft, thatched home. No, here, in the monastery, you wake to law. The bell tolls once, low and deep, vibrating through cold stone walls with the finality of a gavel. It does not wait. It does not ask. It tells. And so your eyes open, not because your body is ready, but because the rhythm of the day is not yours to choose. There is no pause between sleep and rule. You are not greeted by words or a gentle whisper from someone who loves you, only silence, and the rustle of rough wool as you rise from a hard, narrow cot that remembers every movement you made in the night. Your feet touch the floor. It is cold, not the kind of cold you flinch from, but the kind you surrender to, because it will not change no matter how long you stay still. Somewhere, the other monks are already rising, already folding their blankets with precision, already beginning the sequence that defines every day of their lives. And now it defines yours. You do not speak. No one does. Even your breath feels like an intrusion in this space. You dress slowly, not because you are tired, though you are, but because there is no reward for speed, only the next rule, the next hour, the next silence. Your hands fumble slightly as you tie the cord at your waist. It is too tight, then too loose. You try again. Time stretches, but it is not yours to stretch. The rulebook sits on the shelf. You have not read it. You do not need to. It lives in the rhythm of footsteps beyond your cell, in the echo of the bell, in the way the morning light is forbidden from entering until a certain chant has been sung. The world outside, the one you knew before this, is irrelevant now. That world had clocks, choice, chaos. This one has only order. And it begins before light. You step into the corridor, joining the line of silent figures, each moving with neither urgency nor hesitation. They are not rushing, but they are not late. You, too, must learn to be exactly on time, always. The hallway smells of cold stone, old oil, and something else you cannot name. Not unpleasant, just unfamiliar. At the end of the corridor, a wooden door creaks open. Beyond it, the chapel, dark except for a few candles. You do not know the prayers yet, but you kneel anyway. Not because you understand, but because everyone else does. The silence here is not emptiness, it is structure. It is the shape of obedience, made audible. And though the day has barely begun, you already feel something heavy settling on your shoulders. Not pain, not fear, just weight. The weight of rules that existed long before you and will exist long after. Rules that wake before the sun and expect you to do the same. You close your eyes. The bell rings again. The chapel empties without a word. No one gestures, no one glances sideways. You follow the rhythm of robes ahead of you, feet silent against the stone, though the chill rises with every step. The corridor narrows, turns, and opens again. Through a low arch, you enter the refectory, not grand, not warm, Just a long stone room with wooden benches, tables that creak, and windows too high for the sun to yet find. The smell is simple: stale air, wood, and bread that waited too long to be eaten. The monks take their seats in practiced order, no rush, no delay. You follow, sitting where a place remains, unsure whether it was chosen for you, or if this is the kind of place where choice simply doesn't matter. Before you is a bowl. No steam rises from it. Inside, a piece of bread, hard at the edges, softened slightly in the middle from age or weather, or both. A wooden cup stands beside it, filled with water, cool but not cold. You wait because they wait. Then, as one, they bow their heads. A prayer begins, but no sound escapes. It is not spoken aloud, it is felt. A ripple in the stillness, a kind of mental nod to something greater, though you're not sure what yet. And then they eat. Slowly, methodically, their hands move with reverence, not hunger. No spoons scrape. No cups clink. Even the act of chewing is deliberate, contained, like everything else here. You lift the bread. It is rough in your hand, the crust scraping your fingertips, the inside dense but not satisfying. You chew, and the silence around you seems to grow heavier, as if even your jaw moving is too loud. The water is drinkable, that is all. You glance down the table. No one meets your eyes. They eat as if feeding the body is only a necessary pause between the soul's tasks. You are not starving, but the hollowness grows, not in your stomach, but somewhere else. Perhaps in your chest. Perhaps behind your thoughts. This food was not prepared with warmth. It was not offered with joy. It simply is, like stone. Like time. You begin to understand that nourishment here is not for pleasure. It is for discipline. You eat not to enjoy, but to continue. There is no talk of dreams or memories, or even weather. The bread carries no comfort, only repetition. You swallow. It does not satisfy, but no one complains. You imagine your meals back home, warmth, spice, the laughter that came with breaking bread. Here, the only thing that breaks is expectation. A monk near you finishes. He folds his hands. Others follow. You mimic them, though your fingers are stiff. The cold has not left you. It's in your sleeves that match theirs. You wear their silence now, too. One of them rises. The others follow without command. You rise as well. The benches creak in tired unity. The bowls remain, half finished or empty. It makes no difference. The act of eating was completed. The need was addressed. That is all that matters. The refectory clears in silence. Back through the corridor, your hands colder than before. Somehow, the bread has taken something with it. Not hunger, not energy, but perhaps memory. Perhaps ease. You feel lighter, but not in a way that comforts. You, and ahead, in the hallway's shadowed stone, another rule waits. The meal ends, and you follow the others once more into the corridors where cold air clings to the stone like memory. There are no signs, no instructions, no glances exchanged. Only the movement of habit guiding feet in practiced silence. You are led out into the cloister walk, the inner garden of the monastery framed by arched passageways, worn smooth by centuries of sandals and vows. You have never seen a garden so still. No birdsong, no bees, no breeze. Just low shrubs, pale green moss, a few crooked herbs tucked into corners of the soil, and above, a pale sky that doesn't seem ready to warm anything today. But you don't step into the garden. That is not your place. Instead, your steps begin along the stone path that wraps around it. You walk in a square, 4 sides, 4 turns, then again and again. This is not walking for purpose or for pleasure. You do not stroll. You do not wander. You repeat. The sound of your sandals on the stone is the loudest thing you hear all morning. The echo of each step bounces back at you, reminding you that your body is here, even if your mind wishes it were not. One monk walks ahead of you. Another follows. Behind, no one speaks. You wonder if they even think while walking, or if thought is just another noise to be softened. The rules do not forbid thinking, but neither do they reward it. As you continue, you try to find a rhythm. Left, right, turn, left, right, turn. But time behaves differently here. You cannot tell how long you have been walking. 5 minutes? 30? An hour? You see your own feet moving, but they do not feel like yours. They belong to the path now. The path has seen thousands of feet, each belonging to a man who chose silence, who bent his will into obedience. You wonder if they ever missed home, if they ever longed to scream in a place where the walls wouldn't answer. The stone is uneven in places. You catch your toe once. You do not stumble, but the sharp awareness of imbalance startles you. You recover, but you also realize no one noticed. Or if they did not care. The walk continues. You pass the same patch of moss, the same sunlit crack in the arch, the same worn corner where the wall dips slightly. You know these by now. They are not new, and yet there is no end to them. The path does not offer a destination, only return, only repetition. You try to count your steps, but lose track somewhere around 70. The sound of sandals becomes like breath, background, essential, unnoticed. You begin to forget why you're walking at all. There's no lesson here, no revelation, just presence. You are here and walking because you are here and walking. And that is enough, or it has to be. The garden remains quiet. A single leaf shivers on a bush. Perhaps a breeze did come. You don't feel it. You turn again. The cloister is the same as before. Nothing has changed. Except maybe you. You're quieter now, not just outwardly, but inside. Your thoughts walk more slowly. Your questions echo longer. Eventually, a figure pauses ahead of you. The one behind you slows. The line stops, and with it, so do you. No one announces anything. The walk is over, and yet you feel no sense of completion. No arrival, because there was nowhere to go. You stepped in a circle, and perhaps now you understand, not all journeys move forward. Some are meant only to teach you how to remain. You are led to the scriptorium, not with instruction, not with speech, but by simply following the monk ahead of you, whose feet know the route by memory and whose mind no longer questions why. The room you enter is long and narrow, with windows set high into the stone, letting in only a pale, slanting light that never quite touches the floor. It is quiet, more than quiet. It is still, as if the air here has chosen not to move. Desks line the walls, each one home to a stack of parchment, a small pot of ink, and a quill sharpened not for beauty, but for precision. You are directed to a bench. It does not creak as you sit. The wood is worn smooth by years of bodies bent. In the same posture, hands folded the same way, minds forced to be as still as the ink in the bottle before the work begins. Before you, a manuscript waits, not finished, not fresh, just waiting. A page with black script, Latin letters curled like vines around truths you don't understand, truths you are not here to question. Your task is simple: copy, line for line, letter for letter, not interpretation, not thought, just duplication. The quill feels unfamiliar in your hand. You dip it into the ink. A small tremor travels up your arm. Not fear, not excitement, just a quiet resistance that says, I was not made for this. And yet, you begin. The first stroke is too heavy. The second, too faint. By the third, you have forgotten how your own handwriting used to look. Now you must write in a way that does not belong to you. A script practiced by others, perfected through countless days like this one. You trace each letter slowly, carefully, breathing through your nose so that even your exhale won't shake the quill. The ink glistens for a moment, then dries. The next line, the next word, the next curve. A mistake must be scraped out with a sharp blade, then dusted with fine powder, then rewritten. It is not encouraged to make mistakes, but you will. Everyone does. You begin to wonder how many centuries of hesitation live beneath the surface. Of these pages, how many breaths were held, how many backs ached, how many men sat right here and thought, I don't know what this means. But I must write it anyway. The hours move slowly. You dare not stretch. The others do not. Their heads remain bowed, their quills scratching softly like the sound of distant rain. It becomes a kind of music. If silence could hum, this is what it would sound like. Your mind starts to drift. You think of things far from this room, the weight of your name, the color of the sky in places without walls, the way it felt to be outside time. But the ink brings you back. It always does. A blot appears where your thoughts had wandered too far. You scrape it away as gently as you can. You learn to focus again. The act of copying is not just physical, it is spiritual. You are not meant to understand the words. You are meant to become the hands that preserve them. You are not the voice. You are the echo, and that is enough. Line after line, your doubts begin to fade, not because you found answers, but because doubt requires energy, and this task leaves you with none to spare. The pages fill, not quickly, but steadily. The ink stains your fingers. The letters become more uniform. Your thoughts grow quiet, not empty, but still. At some point, a bell rings again. Not loudly, just once. The monk beside you rises. So you do too. You do not remember how many pages you copied. You do not know if you did them well. That is not the point. The work was the point. The act itself. You step away from the desk. Your back aches. Your knees resist, but your mind no longer struggles the way it did before. You leave the scriptorium not full, not proud, but exact, as if a ruler had drawn a straight line down the center of your thoughts, and now everything else must fall in place beside it. The bell sounds again, not loudly, not insistently, but just enough to remind you that time is still passing, even if you no longer feel its weight. You follow the procession once more through the cloister's cold shadows, past the corners, where moss grows in silence, where ivy creeps without permission. The refectory doors open the way they did before, not with ceremony, but with inevitability. The same benches, the same high windows, the same long table stretched across the room. Like a line you are not meant to cross. You take your seat, this time without hesitation. You no longer look for warmth, for smile, for human gesture. The bowl before you is not steaming. It never is. Inside, a thin lentil broth, pale as stone water, and beside it, bread, not new, not old, just bread that exists for function, not for pleasure. You wait. You lower your head. The prayer happens, again without words, again inside the room rather than within any voice. This prayer is not a plea, it is a pause. It marks the moment where breath becomes still before the next act of obedience. You lift the spoon. The broth touches your lips. It is not bad. It is not good. It is temperature. It is sustenance. You chew the bread. It dissolves slowly, dry at the edges, softer at the center. You chew without sound. No one chews loudly here. No one gulps. No one reaches across. It is a choreography of restraint. You do not taste the food. Not really. You taste the quiet. You taste the echo of every bite swallowed in silence. You glance around. No one looks up. Their eyes remain lowered. Their thoughts, if they have them, are locked behind still faces and breath that barely moves the chest. There is hunger in this room, but not the kind you knew. Not the rumbling of a stomach before a feast. Not the craving for spice or warmth. Or joy. It is a different hunger. It lives in the spaces between each bite. It gnaws not at the belly, but at the place in you that once longed for something more than routine. A hunger for voice, for color, for heat. That is the hunger you feel. Most now the ache for anything outside this narrow, obedient moment. You sip the last of the broth. It tastes like water borrowed from a stone. The bread is finished. The bowl is empty. But your chest still feels hollow, like something deeper than food was supposed to be filled. A monk beside you folds his hands. Another follows. And like a ripple through still water, the room settles into a kind of closing. No bell, no farewell. Just a shared understanding that the act is done. You fold your hands. Not in gratitude, but in rhythm. You rise. The bench makes no sound. You walk back through the corridor, each footstep placed exactly where it was earlier. Your robe brushes the wall. The cold touches your wrist. You are not colder than before, but you are more aware of the cold. It has become familiar, not a pain, but a companion. As you step out of the refectory, you feel the silence follow you. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of something greater, heavier. A silence that demands space in your bones. You are not starving. But you are. Not fed. The meal did not harm you. But it did not save you either. It simply passed through you. Like everything else in this place. You swallow again. There's nothing in your mouth. But something remains stuck in your throat. A question you do not know how to ask. A longing you cannot name. And as the hallway stretches ahead, as the next bell waits its moment, you understand. Not every hunger announces itself. Some settle quietly into your chest and stay. They do not tell you where to go next. The bell rings again, not loud, never loud, and you move with the others. Your feet following the robes in front of you like shadows on a wall. You pass through an arched doorway that leads not to another corridor, but to air open, sharp, earthy. The monastery garden does not welcome you, but it does not resist you either. It is not a garden of beauty. It was never meant to be. There are no flowers here, no painted blooms or fragrant vines. Only rows of stubborn vegetables, patches of healing herbs, soil packed by repetition, and weeds that rise again no matter how many times they are pulled. A monk places a wooden tool in your hand. You do not speak. You do not nod. You take it, as he expects you to. You step into the earth. The ground is hard from last night's cold, soft in patches where others have already worked. Your knees bend slowly, protesting not from injury, but from a lack of purpose. You kneel anyway. The robe wrinkles under your weight. The first handful of dirt is dry. It sifts through your fingers, leaving small traces under your nails, across your palms, like reminders that even here, you are meant to leave something behind. You begin to dig, not deeply, just enough to loosen the roots of weeds, small coiled things that seem harmless, until they resist. You tug, they fight, you pull again. And as you do, something odd happens. You feel guilt, not for the weed, for yourself, for how the act of uprooting a thing stirs something in you that you cannot name. You dig more. Each weed feels like it belongs to something larger, some system of correction, a kind of confession that does not use words. You do not know what you're atoning for, but your hands do. They move steadily, soil under the nails. The ache in your wrists, you glance to the side. Another monk kneels beside you. His movements are practiced, gentle, precise. He pulls weeds with the quiet of someone who has done this for decades, and will do it again tomorrow. He does not look at you. He does not need to. You are not here for community. You are here for discipline. A breeze stirs the leaves. You do not feel it. Your sweat dries before it cools you. The sun, faint, pale, rests high above, but never quite reaches your back. The stone walls around the garden hold in the silence like a bowl holds water. Nothing escapes. You pull another weed. It comes loose too easily. You are not sure if that's good or bad. You begin to wonder if anything in this place resists long enough to matter. A bee lands on a nearby leaf. You watch it for a moment, too long. Your hand stills. Your thoughts drift. The bee flies away. You return to your work. Hours pass. Or perhaps just minutes. Time in the garden feels different than time in the cloister. It does not echo. It settles. Your knees grow numb. Your lower back begins to pulse. You shift, but only slightly. The monk beside you does not move. He is as much a part of this garden as the stones, the weeds, the tools. You envy his stillness. You resent it too. You reach for another patch of soil. This one is moist. It clings to your skin. You dig, and for a moment, the earth feels like memory, something deep and dark and too full to hold comfortably. You want to stop. You do not. You keep digging. Because that is what you were told, even if no one said it. Even if no one needed to. The bell rings again. It is time to rise. Your hands are stained. Your knees tremble. But you stand. The weeds you pulled lay in a small pile, unimpressive, forgettable. But you know what it took to remove them. You feel it in your arms, in your breath, in the strange, unsettled part of your chest that still doesn't know what you were trying to fix. The monk gathers the tools. You follow him back toward the stone halls. The earth stays behind, but some of it stays with you too. Beneath your fingernails, in the bend of your spine, in the silence of your thoughts. You say nothing. Because what is there to say, in a place where even the weeds speak more clearly than you? There is no bell for this moment, no instruction, no sign. But you know it is time. You follow the pattern, the rhythm that now pulses without permission beneath your skin. The hallway to the confessional is darker than the others. Not because the light is absent, but because it is hesitant, as if even the sun doesn't wish to witness what takes place behind that door. You walk slowly, not to delay, but because silence itself seems heavier here. The walls are closer, the air colder, the stone underfoot less forgiving. You arrive and kneel, not on cushion, not on warmth, but on bare, worn wood that has felt the weight of too many knees before yours. The scent in the confessional is old of wood polish, candle smoke, and something more human. Fear, maybe. Or shame. Across from you sits the priest, behind a thin wooden screen. You cannot see his eyes. Only the outline of his form, still as a shadow carved in the dark. He does not greet you. He does not need to. This exchange is not about faces. Not about comfort. Not even about understanding. It is about ritual. You lower your gaze. Your hands rest in your lap, not folded, not relaxed, just waiting. You open your mouth, but no sound emerges. The silence stretches, not unkindly, but inevitably, like something long expected. The priest does not prompt you. He does not shift. He allows the silence to grow, to press into the space between you like water into stone. You try again. Still nothing. Not because you are afraid, though you are. Not because you are unsure, though you are that too. But because you no longer know how to speak. Not in this place. Not about yourself. You reach back into your mind, searching for something, anything that might be shaped into words. A mistake, a thought, a regret. But all you find are images. Your mother's voice in the kitchen. The way sunlight once felt on your neck. The time you lied about a broken jar. The way you never said goodbye to the friend who left. These memories hover like ghosts, flickering behind your eyes, but none of them feel true enough to speak aloud. You breathe in. The air tastes like dust and distance. You wait. The priest waits. This is not a conversation. This is a confrontation with yourself. A place where words would only get in the way. The silence becomes a mirror. And what you see there or don't is the thing. You are confessing. Not a sin, but a silence. A forgetting. A disappearance of who you were before this place. The priest finally speaks. Just one sentence low, calm, go in peace. You don't know if he means it. You don't know if you deserve it. But the words fall on you like rain on dry soil, unfamiliar, undeserved, but soft. You rise slowly. Your knees ache. Your chest feels heavier, not lighter. You step away from the booth. The hallway is unchanged, still dim, still narrow. But you are not the same. Something inside you has shifted, though you cannot say what. You touched something, or maybe it touched you. Either way, you are quieter now, not just in voice, but in thought. And as you return to the rest of the day, you understand something strange. Sometimes the truest confession is the one you cannot say. Evening gathers not with color, but with sound, not joyous, not melodic, but steady, solemn, and immovable. You follow the line of monks into the chapel again, feet silent on the stone, robes swaying like tired shadows. The light inside is dimmer, now flickering low across the floor, and the candle seems smaller than before, or perhaps it is you who has grown smaller, quieter, more unsure. You kneel where you are expected to kneel. No one tells you where. You just know. The wooden bench offers no comfort. It is not meant to. This moment is not about the body. It is about the voice, or rather, about what the voice is supposed to carry. A hymn begins, ancient and low, sung by the monks in unison. You open the small book that was left on your shelf this morning. Its pages are worn, its letters strange. You try to follow along. You chant as they chant, your lips forming the words they have memorized from boyhood. But the syllables roll from your tongue like pebbles, not like water. Each one lands heavily. You do not know their meaning. You cannot feel their shape, and yet you say them. You say them because they are being said. You say them because you must. Around you, the others are unmoved. Their voices do not falter. Their eyes remain forward, fixed on nothing and everything all at once. You wonder if they know what the words mean. You wonder if that matters. Maybe meaning is a luxury. Maybe devotion does not need understanding. Maybe repetition is enough. The Psalms continue. You lose your place. You find it again. You fall behind. No one notices. Or if they do, no one reacts. There is no correction here, only continuity. The chant is not for you. It is for the space, for the walls, for something older than comprehension. You feel the vibration of the sound. In your chest, not like music, but like a pulse. And still you chant. Word after word, stone after stone. You begin to wonder if faith feels like this, like saying things that don't make sense in the hope that one day they will. Like walking a path with your eyes closed, trusting that the others have walked it enough times to know where it leads. A page turns. You are behind again. You whisper faster, trying to catch up. Your voice feels thin. It does not sound like you. It sounds like a version of you that used to believe in things more easily. The monk beside you does not miss a syllable. He breathes in rhythm with the words, as if they are his own breath, his own marrow. You envy that. You fear it too. The psalm ends. A pause. Then another begins. You keep reading. You do not stop. Not because you believe, but because to stop would mean acknowledging that you don't. You let the words pass through you, like wind through branches, hoping they will leave something behind. They don't. Not yet. The chapel smells of wax and dust and long-held secrets. You lower your voice. Your mouth moves. But your mind drifts to the garden, to the silence of the cell, to the shape of the weeds in your hand. You wonder if any of those things were prayers too. The chant fades. A final hum, then stillness. You close the book. You have said every word. And yet, you are not sure you spoke at all. There is no signal, no voice, no gesture that tells you the day is ending, and yet you know it is. Not by the color of the sky, which you have not seen, but by the way the silence thickens, the way the air feels stiller, as if it too has finished its work. You walk the hallway alone now, no footsteps ahead. None behind, just yours, echoing softly, then swallowed by the stone. You reach your cell. The door is neither open nor shut, it simply waits. You step inside. It looks the same, exactly the same, and yet, something about it feels smaller. As though your presence today has taken up more space than yesterday. The bed is where you left it. A slab, not truly a bed, with a thin layer of straw that is flattened further. You do not expect warmth from it. You do not seek it. You simply lower yourself into place, bones meeting wood and stone with a familiarity that now feels inevitable. Your hands rest across your chest, not in peace, not in fear, just there as if to keep your ribs from spreading apart. The walls are close. They always were. But now they feel more aware of you, more attentive to your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts. You close your eyes. The darkness behind them is not different from the darkness of the room. You could open them, and the view would not change. Nothing to see, nothing new. Only the same cold stone. Only the same heavy quiet. You think, maybe, for a moment, of what sleep used to feel like. A bed softer than this. A window open to the night air. Distant sounds of life, a breeze, an animal, a voice in another room. You try to summon those memories, not to hold them, but to see if they still belong to you. But they feel distant, like someone else's dreams, left behind in a different skin. You wonder if this place has taken them, or if you gave them up. Yourself. The silence here is not absence. It is pressure. It presses against your thoughts, molding them into slower shapes, softer echoes. You breathe. The sound is barely there. You shift slightly. The straw crackles beneath you, but then grows still. Everything grows still. You do not know how long you will lie here. Time has already begun to blur, not like fog, but like a thread unraveling, no longer held taut by anything familiar. You are not tired, but you are ready to stop moving. Not sleepy, but no longer awake in the way you once were. The candle stub on the shelf has burned down. The wax is hardened, cold, and pale. You remember that you meant to look at it again, to watch it fade, but you forgot. Or perhaps you chose not to watch. You roll slightly onto your side. The wall is closer this way. Your breath fogs faintly against it. You wonder if the monks feel this same heaviness, or if it left them long ago. Or maybe they have learned to name it something else, peace perhaps, or surrender. You do not feel either. You feel only the weight. A weight that does not crush, but settles. A weight that does not punish, but remains. And as your eyes drift, closed again, or maybe they never reopen, you realize that this cell is not a room. It is a mirror. And what you see inside, it is not the monastery. It is yourself, hollowed quietly by a day that asked nothing of you but everything you had. The prayers have ended. The last words have fallen into the stone like droplets disappearing into thirsty earth. No echoes. No lingering sound. Just silence, full, unmoving, complete. The monks rise and disappear into corridors you do not know. Their movements are soft, but not uncertain. They have done this every day of their lives. You sit in the chapel, the wooden bench beneath you familiar now, the weight on your back more known than your name. You do not rush to leave. There is nowhere to go that will feel different. You rise eventually, body slow, knees aching in a quiet, dull sort of way, not from injury, but from existence. The candlelight dances for a final time on the worn stones. Your shadow wavers, but you do not notice. You are not watching anymore. You return to your cell, the same cell, but it does not feel the same. Nothing changed, but something shifted. Not in the room, in you. The silence is no longer around you. It is in you, behind your eyes, beneath your skin. In the gaps between thoughts, it is not heavy, not anymore. But it is permanent, You sit on the bed. No one will call you to dinner. No one will speak your name. You cannot recall the last time you heard your name. It feels like it belonged to someone else. You close your eyes. Not to sleep, but to stay where the silence can spread without interruption. You try to remember what you brought with you when you came. A bag, perhaps. A coat. A name. A voice. You do not remember what you left behind. But you are certain. Something is missing, and you are certain it will not return. The silence has taken it, not cruelly, not with force, but with persistence. Like water wearing down stone. Like darkness swallowing detail. You could leave, perhaps. Walk down the hall, out the door, into the world beyond the gate. But the silence would follow you, not the monastery's silence. Your silence, the one you now carry, in your breath, in your bones, in the way you do not speak unless spoken to, and even then, softly. You wonder if others would hear it. The quiet inside you. If they would sense it in the way you pause before responding, in the way your eyes drift to corners instead of people. You are not broken. You are not even sad. You are changed. And that change is silent. You lie back, once more, on the stone bed. The air is cool, but you do not shiver. You listen, not for sound, but for absence. And you find it, deep, endless, familiar. You will sleep soon. The kind of sleep that is not rest, but retreat. Tomorrow will begin again. The bell will ring. The rules will wait. But for now, there is no bell. No rule, only you and the silence. That doesn't end, not because it refuses to, but because you no longer want it to.